Hello viewers, you are now watching African Folktales by Esi. Please subscribe to this channel and thank to those who have subscribed before. In the heart of Umuma village, where the palm trees swayed to the rhythm of the wind, lived Ada. Ada was known for her beauty, her kindness, and her sharp wit. At 16, she had dreams as vast as the skies. Her parents, Papa Chica and Mama Ngozi, adored her and often said she would bring great honor to their family. But life does not always follow the paths we imagine. One fateful evening, Ada met Obinna at the village stream. He was a hunter from a neighboring village with a charming smile and a bold spirit. Ada had gone to fetch water when she stumbled upon Obinna, skinning a wild hare he had caught. He greeted her warmly and they began talking. "What's a beauty like you doing alone at this hour?" Obinna teased. Ada blushed but replied with her usual confidence. "Fetching water is no task for cowards." That evening they talked for hours by the stream. Soon their meetings became frequent, their conversations deeper and their laughter louder. Their love grew in secret, hidden from the prying eyes of the villagers. Ada knew her parents would disapprove. Obinna wasn't wealthy, and her parents had always envisioned a better match for her. But love doesn't follow rules, and Ada and Obinna's hearts were entwined. One rainy night, under the big iroko tree near the stream, their love reached a point of no return. They promised to be together forever, but the weight of their actions was something neither had foreseen. A few months later, Ada began to feel strange. She woke up nauseous, her appetite changed, and she felt an unfamiliar heaviness in her belly. She knew what it meant but couldn't believe it. She tried to hide it, but as her belly began to swell, the truth became harder to conceal. Her mother noticed first. "Ada, your clothes are tighter. Are you eating too much?" Mama Ngozi asked one morning, her voice tinged with suspicion. Ada avoided her mother's gaze and murmured, "I'm fine, Mama." But Mama Ngozi wasn't convinced. She started watching Ada closely, and one afternoon, while Ada was scrubbing pots, her mother confronted her. "Ada, tell me the truth. Are you with child?" Ada dropped the pot she was holding, her hands trembling. She fell to her knees and wept. "Mama, I'm sorry. I made a mistake." The news hit her parents like a thunderstorm. Papa Cheek was furious, pacing the compound and shouting about how Ada had brought shame to their family. Mama Ngozi cried silently, her heart broken. "Who is responsible?" Papa Cheek demanded. "Tell me, Ada." But Ada refused to speak. She didn't want to put Obinna in danger. The news spread through the village like wildfire. The women whispered about Ada at the stream, while the men shook their heads in disappointment. Children pointed at her as she walked by, singing songs to mock her. Ada felt isolated and ashamed. Her parents barely spoke to her, and she was forbidden from leaving the house. One evening, Obinna came to her family's compound. He knelt before Papa Chaik and Mama Ngozi. "I am the father of Ada's child. I will take responsibility." But Papa Cheek was enraged. "You, a poor hunter! You will not marry my daughter. You are not worthy of her." Obinna pleaded, but Papa Cheek chased him away. "Leave my house and never come back." Ada's pregnancy progressed, and life became harder. Her parents treated her coldly and she felt trapped. But she found comfort in her best friend, Neka. "Don't give up, Ada," Neka said one afternoon as they sat under the mango tree. "Your baby is a blessing, not a curse." Ada smiled faintly. "Sometimes I wish I could run away and start over." The day of Ada's delivery arrived with a storm. The wind howled and rain poured from the skies. Ada's cries of pain echoed through the village as the midwife worked tirelessly to help her. After hours of labor, a baby boy was born. He had bright eyes like his mother and a strong cry that filled the room. When Ada held her son, she felt a love she had never known before. She named him Shimari, meaning God has won. But the villagers continued to gossip, and Ada's parents were still angry. They refused to acknowledge the child, saying he was a constant reminder of their shame. Ada was determined to raise her son, no matter the challenges. She started working in the village, weaving baskets and selling vegetables at the market. Slowly, people began to admire her strength and determination. Even those who had mocked her began to respect her. Obina, though banished from her family, never gave up on Ada. He visited her secretly, bringing food and gifts for the baby. He promised to build a future for them, even if it took years. One day, when Shia was a year old, a tragedy struck the village. A wild leopard began attacking livestock, and the villagers were terrified. Obinna, known for his bravery, volunteered to hunt the beast. For 3 days, Obinna tracked the leopard through the forest. On the 4th day, he returned with the animal's carcass, proving his courage. The villagers celebrated his bravery, and even Papa Chaik began to see him in a new light. Obinna used this moment to plead his case again. "I love Ada and our son. Please, let us be a family." This time, Papa Chaik listened. After much deliberation, he agreed to let Obinna marry Ada. The wedding was simple but beautiful, held under the same Iroko tree where their love story had begun. Ada's parents, though reluctant at first, eventually welcomed Obinna and their grandson into the family. Ada's journey was not easy, but she proved that love, courage, and determination could overcome even the harshest judgments. Her secret had brought her shame, but it also brought her the greatest joy, her son Shia and a life filled with love. Life after the wedding wasn't as smooth as Ada had hoped. Though her parents had accepted Obinna, they still struggled to fully embrace him. Papa Cheek, in particular, would often remind Ada of how she had brought shame to the family. But Ada held her head high, determined to prove that her decision to marry Obinna was the right one. Obinna, on his part, worked harder than ever. He expanded his hunting and began trading animal skins with merchants from other villages. Over time, he saved enough money to buy farmland, where he started growing yam and cassava. "Things will get better, my love," Obinna would tell Ada each night, holding her close. And Ada believed him. Chimari grew quickly into a lively boy. He had Obinna's strength and Ada's curious nature. The villagers, who once mocked Ada, now admired how she was raising such a fine child. Chimari became a symbol of Ada's strength and resilience. One evening, while sitting under the mango tree with her son, Ada whispered, "You're my joy, Shimari. Because of you, I've found purpose." Shimari didn't understand his mother's words, but he hugged her tightly, sensing her love. One day, disaster struck the family. A severe drought hit Umuoma and the neighboring villages. The streams dried up and crops withered under the scorching sun. Food became scarce, and people grew desperate. Obinna's farm suffered greatly. His yam seedlings failed to grow, and the little cassava he managed to harvest was not enough to feed his family. Ada, too, struggled to sell her baskets, as villagers had no money to spare. "What will we do?" Ada asked one night, tears in her eyes. "We will survive," Obinna said firmly. "I will find a way." Obinna decided to travel to a faraway market town where traders said there was still food and work. He promised to return with enough money to save his family. "I'll be back before the next moon," Obinna said, kissing Ada and Shimari goodbye. Ada watched him walk away, her heart heavy with worry. She prayed every night for his safe return. Weeks passed, and there was no sign of Obinna. Ada grew anxious, the drought worsened, and Shimari fell sick from malnutrition. Ada used the little money she had saved to buy herbs from the village healer, but her son's health didn't improve. "Hold on, my son," she whispered, cradling Shimari in her arms. "Your father will come back soon." One afternoon, as Ada sat outside her hut, she heard the sound of a drumbeat coming from the village square. She rushed to see what was happening and found a group of travelers entering the village. Among them was Obinna, carrying a sack of provisions. Ada's heart leaped with joy as she ran to him. "You're back. I told you I would return," Obinna said, handing her the sack filled with yams, dried fish, and herbs. With Obinna's return, life began to improve for the family. The drought eventually ended and the rains returned, bringing life back to the fields. Obinna replanted his crops, and Ada's baskets started selling again. The family worked together to rebuild what they had lost, growing stronger through their struggles. Years later, Chiemari grew into a strong and intelligent young man. He often followed his father to the farm and helped his mother weave baskets. The villagers admired him and often said, "This boy will go far." One day, the village elders approached Obinna and Ada with a proposal. "We want Chiemari to attend the big school in the city," they said. "He has the potential to become a great leader." Obinna and Ada were hesitant at first. Sending Chiemari to the city would mean letting him go far away, but they knew it was an opportunity he couldn't miss. "You're destined for greatness, my son," Obinna told Chiemari as they prepared him for the journey. "I'll make you proud, Papa," Chiemari replied. Chiemari thrived in the city. He sent letters home sharing stories about his studies and the new world he was discovering. Each letter filled Ada and Obinna with pride. One day, Chiemari wrote, "I want to become a doctor, so I can return to the village and help our people." Ada wept with joy when she read the letter. Her son, born in shame and raised through hardship, was becoming a beacon of hope. Years later, Chiemari returned to Umuoma as a fully trained doctor. The entire village gathered to welcome him home. Papa Chika, who had grown old and frail, embraced his grandson and said, "You have brought honor to this family." Ada smiled through her tears, holding Obinna's hand tightly. She whispered, "We did it." Obinna nodded, his heart full of pride. "Yes, we did." The story of Ada's baby, once a secret of shame, became a tale of triumph and resilience. Ada's courage, Obinna's love, and Chiemari's determination had transformed their family's destiny. In the end, what began as a secret grew into a legacy that inspired the entire village of Umuoma.